I'm going to call the meeting to order. Otter Creek Communication Union District meeting. At this time, entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I, Amanda, move to approve the agenda.
Got it. We got the motion. Anyone second?
I'll second it.
I second that.
I would suggest, as a friendly amendment, that we could potentially put in after new member approval as replacing number 4, moving 4 down and putting on Hub 66 as a discussion. That sound good to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of approving the agenda signified by saying aye.
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 Right. Any opposition? Ayes appear to have. Ayes do have it. So we have amended the agenda to include Hub 66 after 3. Next up, we have a new member approval. So we have paperwork and all the things that have been done properly. Castleton has voted to join our CUD as well. I have Fairhaven on here. Amanda, did you hear anything from Fairhaven? I feel like
They had talked about it. They didn't finalize it. We're still working with them and Poultney.
okay. All right. So we have Castleton here as a potential member. Does anyone want to make a motion to accept them as a member of our CUD?
I can make a motion, that's Chris Custer, that we accept Castleton as a new member with joy.
Second, anywhere?
I,
I
Amanda,
second that.
or Sam seconds it.
Staying with the second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Congratulations. Welcome, Tim Monks from Castleton.
Hi, guys. I'm glad to
Hi.
join.
We're glad to have you. It's been amazing. We've been able to add a new member to each meeting. And again, more power numbers. We're really glad to have Castleton representing the west side, making our way out that way, which is nice. So thank you very much for joining us. And I'll update the website and everything, so it has you guys listed. At this point, we move on to item number 4, which is a presentation from Hub 66 about their services and what they could possibly offer the CUD or members of our CUD. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Beth Bumbarger and Michael Matea, who are going to present some information to us and give you about 8 to 10 minutes.
Wow, got to watch a clock, and Michael will tell you I'm a talker. How are you doing? My apologies. Okay. I'm Beth Bumbarger, and I'm the CEO of Hub 66. Mike Matea is here, and he is my CTO. He's the technical chief officer that we have, and his knowledge of equipment and the latest and the newest far surpasses my ability, believe me. We've been invited to join both your meeting and to work with the state of Vermont because we have a unique way of doing things. Most companies are coming in and trying to give you literally fiber, and you want it everywhere, and the cost is prohibitive to you as it would have been to us. But we've been able to offer a hybrid install. So we do a mix of fiber, we do towers, even water towers, and small radio towers. And we also do what we call micro pops on various homes that may be, or businesses that may be placed in a location that allows us to expand the coverage map. With this process, we're able to bring you up to a gigabit of service or 1,000 megabytes. In various areas, there is fiber we can utilize. Other areas we have to string it and start from scratch. And we're working with the CUDs and looking at the situations that you've got, because each CUD has a combination of multiple communities, and there may be a way for us to tie, especially as you're on, most of you have a main route going through, we can really tie through that. And with a limited amount of time, I'd like to turn it over to Michael, because Michael can handle the technical pieces of what we do to make the goals that you all have come through. Michael?
Yeah, thanks for the time. Appreciate being here. We try to look at every opportunity strategically, and a lot of people, like Beth was saying, they just want to fiber up every town, and they're not looking at ways that they can do things in a low cost way and still get high performance services to everybody. So we just did a project in Rupert, Vermont that's actually launching in December. And in Rupert, First Light, the fiber company, had a commercial fiber going down Main Street that they were bringing service to, I think, the fire department or the library. And there was 50, 60 homes along that route that no one had high-speed internet services. So we worked with First Light on just wrapping a fiber around their fiber. We didn't have to wait for any make-readies or any of the time-consuming processes that really tie down fiber projects. And we got a low-cost solution for getting fiber there, and we're launching in right before Christmas, actually, I think December 23rd. So that's kind of an exciting project. And then in Maldenborough, New Hampshire, we have some projects where the town came to us with the same type of thing. They said, hey, we have this group of underserved homes. How do we get service there? And we started looking at a couple projects. We have a fire tower up there that was, been around for decades and it's kind of unused. And we ended up doing a wireless link from a cell tower up to this fire tower and broadcasting wireless frequencies to get all these people online. And wirelessly, we don't get quite the speeds we do wired. It's typically around like 200 to 500 megabits per second. But it's significantly substantial for people that live in DSL markets or areas where they just don't have access to high-speed internet. So we're trying to be a solutions-based company where, people give us problems and we try to find the best way to solve them, technologically speaking, and then Beth tries to work on the money side to make sure that it can be financed properly. But there's definitely multiple ways to solve problems. That's why your CUD exists, because it's not as easy as just getting these large grants and just running fiber down every street. Some areas are just very hard to get to. And not to drag this on, but give me another 30 seconds. We had one area where we had a bunch of farm homes down a long stretch of road, and it was very open land, but at the same time, they're very spread out, and those spread out homes have become the most cost prohibitive for running fiber. So we did wireless links all the way down the street. We did links off of trees and off of utility poles, and we did 1,000 or 2,000 feet at a time with links, and then a drop to the home with a wireless connection. And what would have cost like $60,000 in fiber, we were able to do for under $6,000. So those are the types of solutions
Oh, wow.
that we're trying to put together.
What we'd like to do is we could meet in person, or we can do it by the town and give you an idea what it is. Or if you're doing it all as one group, we need to know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And we can definitely give you a project plan and let you see what you think of it. And then we can, customize it to what you want. But it's in your ballpark as to what you'd like us to do. The good thing is we're flexible enough to do just about anything with you.
Okay. Any questions from I've got a ton of questions. Any questions from anybody that isn't me? Okay. All right. I had a question. So this Rupert project, you guys worked with First Light,
Yes.
and so you guys wrapped your fiber around their existing fiber.
No, we buy our fiber from First Light.
Okay. When we
There
said
are
that,
certain-
it sounded like it was like they actually went and tape, duct tape.
No, we
They
don't.
are, they're actually lashing an additional fiber around their commercial fiber. So like our residential fiber is being lashed right around their existing fiber. So it is kind of like taped up, but with a metal, lashing cable.
Oh, so okay. Just to confirm, Ken, because I am obtuse. There's a physical cable that is run for the fiber, or are you guys pulling off some of their commercial fiber bandwidth?
Nope, we're actually wrapping a new fiber around the existing fiber. And when we do that with First Light, it's careful of which markets we can do it in, because if it's a busy area and they have to unlash the fiber to get to their fibers, it can be a big hassle. So it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. But First Light has this great relationship in their European market, where they work with a separate fiber to the home vendor like us in that market, and their investors have been pushing them to do something similar in New England, because they have a lot of commercial fiber and they don't do a fiber to the home offering. And so their CTO actually contacted us this summer about doing this program with them. And we've been selecting sites where this kind of program works. Rupert was one of the first ones that we're doing. So it's pretty exciting. It's a pretty exciting project.
What's the cost per mile? I'm approximately, again, not pinning you down, but like, it's Rupert, but the cost per mile to do overlashing versus just running fiber?
I don't know what the exact cost is because it depends on the situation. If we have to do any new construction or if it's just overlashed, that overlash is not realistic for every market. So for example, like let's say we had a town where you're trying to get 200 homes wired up and we can pass 50 of them on an overlash, and then we can build out new construction to the other 150. You kind of combine the costs on the whole thing and we'll get a project price for the whole thing.
It's why we're able to come in at such a low price in comparison to the other companies, because they really want to take you down a complete fiber install for every single piece of road, and it makes it prohibitive. So they end up with DSL lines and different things that only give people up to 25 megabytes, and it's not enough. It doesn't even support, a good Zoom calls, and heaven forbid you have 2 kids in the house trying to work for schoolwork, plus, everybody else working from home. So what we've done is come up with a hybrid install of different methods to get the entire area up. And Michael, what's the lowest service that we're running now, even at like 10.5 miles out?
I mean, we have links that are like 10 miles from our cell tower. If they have line of sight, they're still getting about 150 to 200 megabytes per second. If we have a tree coverage situation with like heavy foliage, our connections are usually closer to like 50, 60 megabits per second, and like a worst case scenario. We don't service anyone under 50. If we can't get under 50, then, or if the connection's under 50, we try to find a new solution because internet demands are like growing. I mean, right now there's been a big demand with, online meetings and Zoom meetings like this, as you've seen, but it gets a lot more intense when you start including the way like virtual reality is starting to come into play and video game systems. So like NVIDIA and Google's new video game system requires a 50 to 60 megabit connection just to work. The whole like virtual meetings when you're looking at real estate and these 3D tours, I mean, the internet bandwidth situation is only going to get more intense. So we're trying to set up our whole system to anticipate that type of growth. We don't want to implement a system that 3 years from now we have to reevaluate or everybody's scrambling for more funds to upgrade. We're trying to do a system that's upgradable from the beginning. If we do wireless technology, for the most part, we try to do wireless tech that's really going to take you to the next step. Facebook just developed a new chip, that platform that Cambium Networks is working on coming to market with right now, where they're talking about like 2 to 5 gigabits per second on wireless links. It's more of like a micro pop system that Beth mentioned, where we go down the street from wirelessly from one pole to another pole, maybe 1,000 feet apart, and you can get 2.5 gig connections all day wirelessly. So like the way these technologies are growing are significant. It's just a matter of trying to pick something that works and that can be funded appropriately.
So with something like that, like this micro pop and the 2 gig, so like, I mean, you guys need a stable or I guess a larger pipe, right? A larger fiber pipe at that point? Or is your fiber going to support 2 and 3 gig service to the wireless and to provide this? I mean, like, I'm assuming at some point it's got to be in the ground or a physical connection to the internet, right?
Yeah, sure. So like, the good thing about when you have a physical fiber is the physical fiber is just about the optics on the end. If we want 100 gig over that fiber, it's doable. You just have to change the optics. So once there's a physical fiber somewhere, there's a lot of data we can throw off it just by upgrading that. On the wireless side, it's getting pretty wild too. We have network links now that can do about 4 to 5 gig up to like 10, 15 miles wirelessly. So if we have a site that's kind of inaccessible to fiber and we have something above the tree line, whether it's a tower or a 70-foot pole that utility pole that gets put up, we can backhaul in 5 to 10 gig pretty easily on that. So yes, to answer your question, it all does originate somewhere with a physical fiber. But the hardest thing we've seen is trying to get to farm country where you have roads where it's a quarter mile with 1 or 2 homes. That's where it gets really costly. But those people still need high-speed internet. They need these services to live their lives now. And so like we would take those individually and figure out, all right, where is the nearest pipe? How do we get it in there? Wired or wirelessly, and then try to work that way.
Do you guys do the negotiation with GMP owns a lot of the poles down here in Southern Vermont. Do you negotiate with GMP to put these wireless repeaters on the poles, or?
It's two ways. We try to stay away from the utility poles whenever possible because just working above the power line gets extremely costly. I mean, it's 3 to 4 times as expensive to get a lineman to work above the power line. The best thing to do is we use the right of way on the opposite side of the road. It's very inexpensive to put a utility pole in. So we can have someone like First Light come in and they'll install utility poles for us on the opposite side of the right of way. Or in some cases, we're working with towns, like in the town of Moultonborough. We've been talking with their broadband committee about the town, just pulling an electric feed and a space on the utility pole for some wireless links down low. And there's a lot of ways to like do it. It just depends on, the specific situation.
Using the right of way, using the physical, the road right of way.
Exactly. So if like the power's on one side, we'll have First Light come in and put a pole on the opposite side. That's what they're doing with like our network cabinet and Rupert. They're putting our network cabinet right on a utility pole that they're placing on the opposite side of the road. In Moultonborough, we're using the actual utility poles, but we're doing wireless links below the power line, about 15, 16 feet up, and we're just doing some links between the poles. It's actually cheaper to just pull electricity there and do a wireless link between the poles than it is to run fiber sometimes.
And it still gives everybody the high speed that they really need to be able to live everyday life today.
Yeah, the links between the poles we use are 2 gig links. So, we can really service 100, 200 customers down a long roadway pretty easily, especially if the roads are very straight. We can skip 10 poles and just have a connection every 10 poles or so with the wireless link. Just kind of depends on the specific site.
If you're on the opposite side of the road with the pole, how do you satisfy the power requirements for the gear?
Likely they'll just pull a line with the utility company across the street.
So the electric company would have to bring a line across to your pole, to the new pole?
Mm-hmm. Usually just like, a standard service line like you'd pull to a house. So
Okay.
anywhere where they'd have a transformer, they would just pull, break it off that. We'd have a little breaker on the pole. And that'd be it.
Thank you.
The other option is, I know in Vermont, there's not as many like light poles and things like that, but there's a lot of great micro pop technology for light poles now. If there are any light poles going on top of them, you can have like a nice closed structure that looks very elegant. And we can do wireless links off that can reach a 1/4 mile easily. And the nice thing is the power is already there for a light pole, but it really depends on the area because some areas have light poles, some don't. I live in southern New Hampshire and we have no light poles. So you drive down the road and it's dark all the time. So it's kind of situational for each area.
How big is your company and how old are you?
We actually started, Michael and I have been working for about 8 years together now, almost 10. We're coming up on it. 2 years ago, we sat down and decided that we wanted to go into the internet business. And it took us a year to put the infrastructure together, to get everything situated, the financing behind us, the investors, and the plan that we wanted to do, the relationships with all of our suppliers. It took a while to put that together. And we actually incorporated in December, wasn't it last year, Michael, when we actually filed all the paperwork?
July 19.
Okay, so in July of 2019, we filed as a Delaware corporation. And we're a privately held company. We are not public, we're not on the exchange. We have no plans of doing that. It's one of the reasons we can do what we do is we have a group behind us of investors that believes in our cause and wants to be sure that everybody gets the internet that they need. And they work with us to do that, but we're not saddled with the quarterly investors that want their dividend check. That helps us out a lot. That's why we're so much lower.
We have a big company of nerds. I should say that we acquired another wireless provider up in Sandwich, New Hampshire, who's been running a fixed wireless internet company for 10 years with a couple other partners up in the Sandwich, Tamworth area on the north side of Lake Wapasaki. And they joined our team because we started feeding them fiber backhaul into their wireless network so they can up their bandwidth across the board. And we have some great partnerships with some people that are really passionate about bringing internet to places that previously didn't have internet. On the other side, we have a few Comcast and Consolidated employees who were just unhappy with the way those companies were running, and they ended up joining up with us. And so we have a very small, passionate group of people that just really like what we do.
So when your line is run by my house and your service is available, do you become my DSL provider?
No, we do not do DSL, sir. What we do, John, is we have either fiber or a wireless connection, and yes, we would be your provider.
Okay,
But we do not use DSL at all.
okay.
Okay.
And there's monthly charges for that.
Oh, there is, and we're very open about that. It's an $89 a month charge for up to an entire gig of service, depending on where they are. And if it's a special project, like let's say you had a house that was 5 miles outside of town, it's the only one in that whole area, it's 5 miles between the last pole and him, then that we call a special project. And we would work with that particular homeowner to ensure that he gets the service he needs while still keeping his price reasonable. But many of them will then do a shared install cost with us. So sometimes we will have them contribute $1,000 to an install that would normally cost them from Comcast, they would get a $60,000, $70,000 quote. And we ask them for $1,000 and we may charge a little bit more on a monthly basis. That's all.
Is there any limits on the monthly usage? It's not metered in any way. Like that.
None. No, absolutely not. In fact, thank you for bringing that up. A lot of companies are giving you routers that are limited to how much data they can actually move. And we do not. We make sure all of our routers are able to do more. The reason is we try to keep all of our accounts. We've planned for a 5-year upgrade. So as the technology changes, we're going to be coming back around and redoing equipment and moving them up. And I don't want to have to rebuy a router when I could buy a bigger router today. And as the data ability increases and speed increases, I want as much equipment as possible to be able to remain the same. So we have invested heavily in better equipment than in giving you something that is, governed.
If you don't mind, Beth, one of the things that kind of frustrated us as a company, because we're consumers like you, like at our home, Beth has consolidated her home. I have consolidated fiber at my home, and my parents have Comcast. Like, we're used to these big companies, and we had problems with the way their business models run. We got very angry at these data packages. 50 megabits, 100 megabits. My girlfriend at one time called to get her house connected, and she got a different price on the phone than she got on the internet. And the whole model of most internet companies was confusing. It's frustrating to consumers. Most people don't know what they're buying. If they're having a problem with internet speed in the home, when they call the cable company responds with, "Oh, you need to buy more speed." That speed game is kind of almost like a marketing gimmick for internet companies, and we don't like that. So we don't offer multiple speed packages. We have one speed package as fast as we can get somebody. If we can get someone only 150 meg wirelessly, that's our package. If we can get fiber to the home, we're offering a gig. And so we try to avoid all these price, speed, confusion things. We want people to call up and be able to go, "Hey, I want internet to my home. Great, here's what we can do for you," and not play these sales roles games. Like, we have no sales reps that are employed in our company. It's only technicians, customer service reps. I mean, we just only have people that are just working on getting people connected.
How do you handle support? I mean, so like, we're up here in Vermont, weather's lousy a lot. I can see crap happening to stuff on top of poles and radios down, and I work from home, and I have a very bad DSL connection here. But one thing I'll give this company, my connection's always here. Usually it goes out very infrequently. It's slower than death. It's 10 meg, but I can count on them. The electric company lets me down way more than a DSL.
Sure.
So for me, I'm speaking for myself. How are you going to support me to make sure that I stay online?
So we're partnered with a few people that kind of handle that side of things for us. If First Light's running the fiber for us to the home, they have a response time that's incredible, because, for example, if a cell tower goes down, it's more than just end consumers complaining. If someone like Verizon or T-Mobile or Sprint is complaining, you better believe they're out there in 3-4 hours to get that fiber replaced. On the residential side, though, when we do fiber to the home, they also handled the replacement of that fiber for us as well, since they have crews in just about every area in New England and New York State. When we do wireless services, we actually have a tower climbing crew that's that we have on reserve all the time. Actually, last Sunday we had a network switch that died on a tower, and within 5 hours we had the whole thing swapped out and everybody was back online. And we keep extra equipment and those crews always on staff just to handle those types of things, because those things do happen. You know, eventually you will have a tree knock out a line, you will have a piece of equipment go bad on you. That's just the way life is. So we have a response time, and we try to get to everything within a reasonable amount of time. If a big storm or blizzard comes through, I mean, there might be a day or two delay just because of extreme mother nature type events. But on a standard basis, we can usually respond to most things within like 6 hours.
Sunday, when we went down, it was interesting. Our customers were notified by us by both email and text. They got the email and the text before they even noticed we were down. And we already had information in their hands as to how long we thought it would be and that we'd be back up. We were back up an hour earlier than we thought. Everybody was reinstated, and everybody received another text and an email to apologize and tell them that we were back up and running. And that's how we operate. We don't hide behind it. We don't wait for everybody to call. We are monitoring the service for every account every single day and minute. When it goes down, we know first.
Excuse me, Beth. You've been talking a lot about using fiber and existing fiber lines and whatnot. What about towns who are mountainous, who have next to no fiber?
That's why we have the hybrid solution, Cassandra. What we're doing is we put fiber a lot of times down the main street to give us the line and the power to work from to begin. And then we bring fiber to a tower that gives us, over 10 gigs out there. And then we can broadcast from that to the locations that are around the mountain. And, I used to tease Michael when we first started this business. I said to him, I want to do the internet in the mountains, in the hills. And he's like, you're nuts. And I said, well, that's beside the point, but I want to put the internet there. And he said to me, you can't broadcast. There's no straight lines. And I said, there's more than one way to go around a mountain. So what we did is we take a line. If you were drawing around a circle, we just pick a point and we go straight over to that corner and broadcast back in, straight over to another point and broadcast back in and out. So as a result, there is no location we can't get to. It takes time, yes, but we can work with the community. And when we go into one of your communities, I'm assuming you're in Grafton, am I right, Cassandra?
Yep.
Okay.
Goshen.
In Goshen. Okay, what we're going to do there is we would actually supply you with a map overlay that shows you exactly what we can do, where we can do it before you decide to go on board with us. So you would see that this is the method. This is where we're going to put fiber. This is where we're going to put a tower. This is where we're going to use a tower that's already in the area. And we are reaching from the tower that we have in Sandwich. We reach both Sandwich and Moultonborough and some parts of Tamworth. We're now putting up different areas and covering all the way down to Meredith and coming back up through. So there's a lot that we can do. We just have to show you what we can cover, and then you decide your next steps. There's no contract signed up front. It's just a case of, this is what we can do. If you want to work with us, we'd be more than happy to, and we'll put a program together.
That's a perfect segue, actually, because we've reached about the longest 10 minutes in anybody's lives.
I'll bet. I noticed that. Thank you so much, everyone.
So, going forward, and we have a lot to discuss as a board. Forgive me if, but yeah, we've got to move on.
Okay.
Fantastic information. Is there anything if there's stuff that you can send off to us as a board, email to me? Or,
Okay, Bill, can you send me? I am Beth at hub66.com.
Sure. And I'll forward it out to the board.
I sent a Central Vermont CUD, I think, had like a request for capability type of a proposal. And I responded to that proposal. I can provide you guys with the same type of information if you like.
That would be great.
And, I'd like to say to you, I have over 50 years in business. I'm actually a 72-year-old lady. Everybody thinks Michael's my son. It's what happens. Please feel free to look into me. I've got a great background. I've been doing solving. I do a lot of work with the US government, in, my past, and my husband still owns the company that we own. And he is still working there. I retired. I decorated the house one too many times, and he told me to go find a real job. So I'm here, let me know. I'm an engineer too. And, we'll talk to anybody that wants to listen, and we'll answer any of your questions.
Right. Yeah, we'll email you, and yeah, but we'll definitely be requesting more information for sure.
That's
Appreciate you
great.
guys taking the time.
Yeah, look at what Michael has already sent through when he gets it out to you. You send me your email, that'll be out in tonight's mail.
Perfect. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Have a good night,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you guys. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Amanda,
Hi.
did you want to make a motion to enter into?
Oh, yeah, I moved to enter into executive session on the basis of discussing contracts and other private information related to contracts.
Second that motion.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm gonna hit stop on the recording button or pause on the recording button. Second. Pause. All right, so we're back. All right, moving on through our agenda items, we have item number 4, RFPs for website and legal services. Amanda?
Hi, yeah. So we are currently looking at the contracts for the contracts that were awarded. We awarded Group 6 the website and logo contract. We awarded PPEC the legal contract, and at least initially awarded a contract in theory to RISI for the development of a pre-enrollment platform. And the language sounds odd because we're needing to, for 2 of those contracts, make sure that all contractual language specifically reflects the grant, the CARES Act grant language. So there's a lot of work just to make sure all the boxes are checked for both the CUD's sake as well as RRPC's sake. Hopefully that'll be,
Amanda?
yes.
Sorry, can you list the contracts that you're working on again right now? I only got 2 of them.
Sorry, Group 6 is
Oh,
for
I thought you said
logo.
group 6. Jeez.
Yeah, sorry, GROUP 6.
Okay. And they're the website
Website and logo development.
and logo. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And what's the next one?
PPEC
Okay.
is the law firm, so legal
Yeah.
services.
All right. And just
RISI.
those 2? Oh, RISI.
RISI
Okay.
for the development of a pre-enrollment platform.
Yep.
And that will be hugely beneficial to getting ourselves in order to competitively bid out for an ISP, an internet service provider, as well as other things. The reason there's some insecurity around that is the state's consultants need to make sure that that function, that program, that deliverable specifically serves the purposes and health needs of those that need telehealth, education, and professional support in terms of working from home and internet connectivity.
Mhm.
And to prove that, I need to come up with a marketing and outreach plan. So I'm coming up with that in support of our grant amendment, which then allows us to have those funds allocated for that pre-enrollment deliverable. A long way of saying we're jumping through hurdles, trying to get everything covered. It looks like it will. More likely than not, I'll have to apply for another grant amendment to make sure all funds within that 100,000 we originally applied for are correctly earmarked. And more likely than not, we'll need to apply for a few additional funds. We can apply for up to 300,000 extra dollars, which sounds like a lot if we're actually able to do something, but it's hard to find verifiable contractors that can meet all of the legal needs, such as permitting, to do any work this late in the game because all work has to be done by December 15th.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're running into. That said, I was asked by Department of Public Service to see if there's anything we can do for Chittenden Grange Hall. I've been working to see if we can get Chittenden any support because it's one of many places, as you know, has a hard time getting decent service. Consolidated has tech up near the Grange Hall. So we're seeing if they have the capacity to run that line from the nearest point to the Grange Hall and put in a hotspot. If they do, we might be able to fund that. I don't know yet. So there are some variables there, but I will definitely be reporting out to you all via email and then the next meeting as things develop. That was a lot. Does anyone have any questions?
Fantastic work, first of all. Amanda's really doing
Thank you.
a lot of heavy lifting. It's sort of related, I guess, but not related, I guess, to that update. These did you talk about the hot spots?
Oh, we haven't said that yet. Yeah, go for it.
No, that's you. That's all
Okay.
yeah.
We have been working the RPC with the region's emergency management directors. Each town has one to see if there's any areas that could use additional hotspots for community connectivity. And we applied for 13 and we have 12 locations that were awarded. So with our funds, the CUD is funding the purchase of the tech and the install for 12 public hotspots throughout the region. And I can send an email that lists all of those.
That would be great.
I think there's one or two in Pittsford, Sam. I think Mount Holly. I sent an email out. I'm sorry, there's just a lot of stuff in my head right now. So that's very, very exciting. So towns are finding out what Otter Creek CUD is already working to do in terms of providing publicly accessible internet.
I copy and pasted your thing into the chat.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Pittsford, Poultney, Pollitt, West Rutland, Benson, Sudbury, Pittsford.
No Goshen, huh?
Well, that comes to like something I was wanting to talk about. Like, is that like, I mean, man and I were talking earlier this week, and like the door hasn't closed, right? We have about a week left to potentially establish a site and ask.
We have funds, so technically I could ask. I guess that's where we need to connect. There's a little bit of that gap. I'm working with our emergency management coordinator, but that only connects with Rutland regional municipalities. So I need to make a concerted effort to reach out to Goshen's town clerk, or if I could get help making those connections, that would be wonderful.
Do you want her phone number or her email address?
Well, I was hoping like that, you know, maybe, I mean, being close to you, you and I could double team the McKinnons and be like, because I'm understand there's internet at the Goshen Town Hall, right?
Yeah.
Right. They have, and I think they have consolidated, or they might even have, you know, I mean, the only thing is that they have to pay for the internet, I mean, that they already pay for, and agree to having this wireless hotspot attached, and that people will be able to use that internet. So they might have to increase the speed of their internet. But
if Consolidated will even allow that.
Allow for a wireless hotspot?
No, for an increase of speed. Like I try and they're like, nope, sorry, can't do it.
Because I think also too, Comcast might come like right, aren't they at the other side of that bridge?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, anyways,
I'll check.
But within your communities, if you guys can think of those spots and you have somebody within, you know, those spots in your communities that already have internet and have electricity, and you know, that would be willing to host one of these hotspots, you know, I mean,
do you see there's an additional cost to hosting the hotspot?
If you're going to have the internet, I mean, like, you know, ostensibly, like if I were to put one on the outside of my house and I have 250 meg service with Comcast, you know, if people started, you know, parking outside of my place and watching Netflix movies or doing their telehealth or whatever, you know, that it would it would chew up my bandwidth. So I'd want to have more bandwidth. I would
Yeah.
pay for extra bandwidth
Okay.
make sure that my speeds weren't slowed down to a point where I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
But thinking about places like municipal offices, large businesses that might be in your town that have internet, or I mean, but just like those kinds of places where they, they're paying for a limited amount of electricity to have, and to provide a public service for,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
cost of whatever it costs extra for that internet.
Okay.
Does anybody else think of any spaces in their place between Castleton or, Hubbardton? I don't know if there's.
Yeah, Bill, I'll look into it. There may be a couple spots in Castleton that could benefit from a hot spot. So I'll look into that and get back to the group.
Yeah. Time is of the essence. Only a week, or not even a week. As quickly as possible. Okay.
And I had asked about, Bill, I'd asked about Hubbard, and my wife's the town clerk here, and she said, no, there's no real place that would benefit from that. It just doesn't make sense.
Oh, no, never. I forgot. I'm sorry. The Sudbury members in here, but they're in the same boat. Colleen Wright is officially the Sudbury contact, and yeah, there's just, you need to have that backbone of decent internet to have it be large enough for people to siphon off of.
Insert laugh here. Yeah.
Right. Well, fantastic. Well, thanks, Amanda, for the updates and the hard work.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
Moving on to contractor updates, that kind of came out of the website and legal services. Is there any more to add to that?
No, we'll have them up and running as soon as possible. As soon as contracts are signed and work is underway, I'll send updates out to the group. So that hopefully will be by Monday.
Grant updates. I've got a grant update in that I officially applied for that Vermont Community Foundation $20,000 you guys approved me to apply for on behalf of the CUD. I heard back from somebody at the Vermont Community Foundation that was just looking for a little piece of information that they said that they thought they had, but they didn't. But it was actually the EIN for the RPC. I was like, that was in there, I'm pretty sure. And you guys also said that you had it, but we gave it to them anyway. So they have the grant. They're looking at the grant. I assume we're going to get it, but who knows? So
Thank you for getting that done.
no, it was easy. Moving on to website development RFP. What kind of moves into our RFP update? We already got that updated. We're on the RISI update, the feasibility study.
We should have updates by next week, and I think they asked to attend our next meeting to share with you all but what they've come up with and what it means for the CUD. So I haven't seen anything yet. I'm definitely looking forward to it. It sounds exciting.
Cool.
So the feasibility study is going to clearly outline our ideal growth strategy and most business viable strategy road ahead. Exciting stuff.
They point us in a direction and give us some guidance. I mean, I know what you guys, my telecommunication game is a little weak, but getting better. The potential clerk position is just something we've talked about. The hiring or the administration piece. That's really, it's sort of being done right now by the RPC and some of the work that we're doing. But I thought with that potential clerk position, was Mary Ann going to be working on that?
I think I said I was going to work on that, and I haven't honestly had time. I'm sorry. I'm really behind on that one. My manager's yelling at me.
Your assistant is working with you. Well, no, yeah, definitely. We're 2 weeks into this. We want to make sure we have the clerk position right, understand what the demands are. I think, and of anybody, you're probably going to have a better idea about what those demands are. Because again, right now you've essentially been doing that clerk position without being paid for it. So,
Yeah, I guess the hard part is we definitely sorry, write it up. Handover is going to be a little tricky with the CARES Act deadlines.
yeah, I understand that.
Sorry. So hopefully it'll come about soon. Probably maybe more like December with how things are going.
Yeah, I don't think we're in any rush. We've got a lot of things going on, certainly as a CUD, and we're getting closer every day. We're better off than we were even 10 minutes ago. So First Light, moving on to our next First Light. And for our new members, First Light is and you heard Hub 66 refer to them. They're the big broadband provider, and they own a lot of the fiber network that exists. And it's been difficult, I guess, working with them. They haven't been as forthcoming as I guess we would like, or as willing to work with us as we thought they might have been. And we're still just trying to figure out how that all works, like how to get them to give us some numbers, to get us, to get us a proposal on helping to build out broadband, us connecting to their backbone so we can provide broadband services to the members of the CUD. Like, it's all still sort of this puzzle or business puzzle to figure out that, and being as competitive as it is, they seem, these telecommunications companies seem to want to withhold a lot of information until we're willing to say we're going to spend a lot of money. Did you say that's fair, Amanda?
I'm sorry, I only heard part of that. It got a little quiet and it got a little loud on this side.
Oh yeah, no, that we've been working with First Light. They're not really giving us a ton of information to work with.
Correct. Yeah.
But that we still, especially with the fiber, right now we're sort of bound to work with them. We have to do something to figure out a way to work with them, whether they're going to, because they are almost the only game in town for us within the CUD or within Rutland County, because.
Yes and no. One thing, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Having been directed again to connect up to find a way to provide a hotspot for Chittenden, I finally got through to someone at Consolidated, and there might be again work they can do there. However, they also said that they have been busy drafting up their 2021 work plan, which will commence in January. And apparently there are Rutland or regions within the Otter Creek CUD that fall within that work plan. They couldn't be specific. Yeah, I'm sorry, baby. So we need specifics. They can't give it yet, but I would officially put in Consolidated into that fiber provider realm competitively. So it sounds like there's a lot of potential there. We're just waiting for more information.
That's great news.
Yeah, I have a lot of hope for it, actually.
Yeah, well, yeah, and again, just going back, it's been, our work with First Light's been mystifyingly difficult to try and at least get them to throw a number or give us any kind of a plan, or even let us know where their fiber runs or where we could potentially branch off from them. Like, that's been a nightmare.
Yeah, Bill, I do want to mention Consolidated has been nothing but a letdown in Goshen, so I do not have high expectations from them.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting hearing everyone's stories. The most recent comparison is how they did finish wiring downtown West Rutland for fiber. So I don't know if it depends on what they're providing, DSL versus fiber, or which branch of the company. But we do hear you because we have heard variable stories.
Yeah.
Based on, when they were talking about some of the testimony when the legislature was in session, Comcast and Consolidated getting up there, and I mean, I think they're at the point now where they're being kind of compelled to do more. They've been given some money. I think I see that the competition is coming. So whatever the purpose may be, the hope is in that, the competition has forced them to up their game and really start trying to
Yeah.
provide some fiber service to residents in Rutland County.
A little
Yeah.
consistency would be really great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. Moving on, the emergency hotspot deployment, we kind of stepped on that with our RFP and contract updates. Again, if there's a spot in your town that you think could potentially be a great spot and you've got somebody that's willing to say yes, we can put it there and it's a good spot and they're willing to do the internet, get a hold of Amanda ASAP so we can get it as a part of this CARES money. It might be. a
So
good
Bill,
service.
what does the bandwidth need to be to provide the to use the hotspot?
So, I mean, like we have actually here in Brandon, we have one at the town hall, and I think that might be a 25. Like it's small. I mean, but the number of people that are using it during the day, there's not a big demand, so we're fine with it. It's not impacting anything. Our internet sits over the town hall for when we have town hall events, so it's not a big deal for us. And I would say again, like somewhere like Goshen, if they have internet and they've got, they're in there 2 days a week or whatever, like those other 6 or 7 days a week, these other 5 days a week, there's nobody there. Why not have that internet working for somebody instead of nobody?
Yeah.
That would be the argument I would make to any of these town offices. Like between the hours of 9 and 5, maybe some way to throttle down, but after that, or you increase your bandwidth so you can siphon some off to your hotspot so you can provide a service to your community.
So the only cost would come if they have to like get a higher bandwidth.
Yes.
Okay.
In the minimum amount of
I think that'll be big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we call Rosemary and Dave.
Yeah. I'll tell Dave. Yeah.
But yeah, anybody else? Again, anybody else in our CD, if there's a spot, please work them hard. So moving on to Vikuda. Did they meet today? That's a Vermont community, Vermont CUD.
Hasn't been a meeting. I don't think there's any updates.
Yeah. Okay. New member recruitment. If you know in town that wants to join, or about somebody in the town that you can convince to join, please do what you can. Fulton, Fairhaven are still kicking around, I guess, and but the more we have, we'll also have a better roadmap too, I guess, of who we should be recruiting after we get that RISI update, the RISI update from that feasibility study will give us a roadmap of other places to hit up, but have them all join.
Yeah.
Any other business? Anybody business information people want to bring up?
Did we hear whether or not Whiting was going with Addison County?
I've not heard whether Whiting is going with
Haven't,
Addison County or not. And we'll double check that. Have you heard anything, Amanda?
I've heard nothing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully they joined somebody, and
Yes.
that's the. Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at the map to see if there's been an update.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
No worries. Set in the next meeting. Does anybody have interest in meeting? Do we have anything burning that we should be meeting about in the next 2 weeks?
I can send out an email if
Okay.
so. Nothing comes to mind immediately.
Okay. Okay. So we'll set a meeting by way of email, and versus setting it right now.
Okay.
I mean, is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Excellent. Motion to adjourn.
Amanda moves to adjourn.
Second by Chris. Non-debatable. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Thank you guys for your time. We really appreciate it. Stay
Thanks,
cool,
everyone.
and we'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everybody.
Everyone, bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.